What's the deal?
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 What's the deed? Hello and welcome to another episode of What's the Deed, where we find out what's the deal around Deid Air Base. I am Staff Sergeant Stephen Atkins with the 379th Public Affairs Office, and I'm joined today by Chief Master Sergeant Steve Dirksen, the Superintendent from the 379th Expeditionary Operations Group. Chief, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Absolutely. So when I approached you about doing a podcast, you had mentioned to me that mentorship is a real big deal to you. So I got to ask, what's the deal with mentorship here at Deid?
So mentorship to me is the reason I stay in, because I get to see young folks progress, and I know that when I'm retired on a golf course someday, the Air Force is going to be in good hands.
Awesome. And it's because of mentorship like that.
Absolutely.
Okay, so what goes into being a good mentor? What makes up mentorship?
Yeah, that's a good question. So the first thing is, or a few things, you have to be approachable. You have to be somebody that folks want to emulate or want to be like. Mm-hmm. So leading by example is a big thing. And then you also have to be willing to make time. And that's the hard part for people, is to be able to make time.
Because we're all always so busy, right?
Everybody's so busy,
Okay.
right?
So when you're pursuing a mentor, like looking for a mentor as a mentee, I guess it's important to seek out someone who has those traits, the emulatable, if that's a word, approachable, willing, and is willing to give you the time.
Absolutely, 100%. And I would also like to tell folks, look outside of your career field, because it is invaluable to have somebody that has a different set of eyes, because we get kind of stovepiped into our specialties.
Sure.
But to have somebody from outside your career field looking at what you're doing and maybe asking those questions that you never thought to ask before.
Sure. Outside looking in.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Cool. So why is it important to even have mentors? I mean, I can live my own life, right? Why is it important to even have mentors?
So much like kids don't want to listen to parents, well, mentors can give you that advice and you actually listen to it because we've lived it, right? We've seen it. And that's where that relationship is different. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm telling you what worked for me and what has worked for others. And you can take that information, shape it how you will, and then hopefully that will better your life and your career.
A totally different perspective from someone who may or may not have lived it
Exactly.
in a different way. Awesome. Okay. So how does someone go about becoming a mentor on the opposite side of that?
Becoming a mentor, you have to be first informed. You have to have something to offer.
Sure.
Whether it's a life mentor, just in life in general, when you're talking finances and relationships and all those kind of things, because we're all taking this uniform off.
Sure.
Or professional mentor, somebody that you want to be a chief someday or a wing commander someday that has lived that life and made that journey, right? So having various mentors at different stages will help you get where you want to go.
Interesting. So if your goal is to become a first sergeant, you might want to seek out a first sergeant as a mentor.
Absolutely.
Right. Okay. So finally, got to ask you, how are you leaving it better than you found it here at Deid?
Well, obviously I'm here, so I've been teaching classes since I've been out here since July of last year.
In fact, that's how I met you.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then I have kind of grown my family, my mentorship family. I have gathered folks from various different AFSCs that are now kind of in my mentorship family, and I will continue to care for them until I'm long gone.
Very good. Awesome. Well, Chief Dirksen, thanks very much for coming to speak with us about mentorship. I think it's an invaluable asset to have and mindset to be in when it comes to either being or seeking out mentorship. So thanks very much for your time.
My pleasure.
All right, so stay tuned for another edition of What's the Deed, where we find out what's the deal around Deid Air Base.